My next guest I have known for many, many years. I'm not sure how long he's known me, but I've known him for a very long time. And he just looks the same age. It's just incredible. It is so African. We just look the same age, however many years apart. And I've not seen him for some time. But I know that he remains awesome because he's here with me today to tell me all about the awesomeness. And so, you know, in our community, we have so many individuals who, I guess the word polymath comes to mind, where we know lots of things about lots of things. Some of us know some things about some things, or some things about lots of things. But when you're in a space with somebody who does so many different things, it's really exciting. My next guest, Damel, if I said it correctly.
Yes, you have.
Damel is a soulful vocalist. You're going to hear some more about that later. A songwriter, producer, an artist, a poet, and an activist. I mean, do we need 2 shows for our next guest? Quite possibly. So thank you for joining us, Damel. It's a real pleasure to have you in the studio. How have you enjoyed the show so far?
Yeah, it's been sounding really good. The vibe's been really good. Feeling it. So, yeah,
nice.
Pleasure to be here.
You're very welcome.
And he's extremely well attired.
I know.
In his buba.
And his cowrie shells.
And his cowrie shells as well. So respect to you, my brother.
Okay.
I think
I have my beads there, but I'll bow to your beads for representing today.
Oh, well, we have to try, you know.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, man, and we have to represent Jinyame as well. You know what I'm saying? God is powerful.
Yeah, we have to turn up, man.
Yes, we have to represent, man. If not, who's going to do it?
Yeah.
Who's going to show the youth how to attire yourself as an African? So we have to do this. This is our
choices.
Yeah, this is our gift to our young people. It's their birthright. Anyway, sorry.
Absolutely. So just quickly, the We Were Heritage project that Omar is referring to was an opportunity that we were afforded, funded by the lottery, for us to talk about the fact that we are always either adorned in African garments or carrying African print fabric, or both, and kind of like the importance of people understanding the history of that. So we've done that last year. Had a massive African fashion show. We also did London Fashion Week, didn't we? And then the display is now at the Civic Centre in Wembley. So it's wonderful to have you here, attired. I expected nothing different, actually, to be honest. But tell us a little bit about your background, kind of like where were you born, you know, what sort of things do you enjoy doing as a young person? I know you're still young now, so what things do you still enjoy? See how I did that quickly? So, over to you. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, before I do that, just a big greeting and a shout out to the whole community. This feels like a homecoming right now. Those of you who know me, you know I grew up around here. Big up the Chalkhill Massive.
Yep.
Stonebridge, Willesden, Wembley, Kingsbridge, Poplar Grove, the whole area. All the people I know who know me, family and everything. Everyone, I know you're listening. Big up yourself and your beautiful mummy Sojo. Yes, so really happy to be here with you, Grace, and you, Omwali. So yeah, talking about me.
Tell us about you.
Okay. You introduced me with the things that I do. So, musically, artistically, as a fine artist, I've become an activist out of tragedy that's happened, that needed justice to be fought for. And poetry I've been writing probably since I was about 8, for the last 30 years as well. So it's I'm a wordsmith as well. I love language and I love words. So all that encapsulated. So what you do with music, what role you play in it. What part you play in it. I'm a vocalist and a songwriter and producer as well.
Before you tapped into those skills that you know so wonderfully reeled off, because they are who you are now. Tell us about how you became a person, or when you worked out that you were a singer, a poet. What was life like for you as a younger person, or kind of where does Damel's excellence come from in these areas?
Can I ask Brother Damel, where you people from?
Yeah.
Can we get?
There you go. Well, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I was born in the Gambia. So big up all Gambians.
Yes,
now there's more Gambians than there was born in Gambia. There's a whole lot of honorary Gambians, right? As far as we're concerned, that's what you are.
There was something about you that was different, you know. Now I get it. Now I get it.
Okay. So yeah, I was born there. So came to UK when I was 9. So those first 9 years are really formative. There's a lot that you can become in that time, potentially, and we really are. So musically, it's you've got drums around you every day. They're just music. You know, if you live in a hot country, could be the Caribbean, wherever, there's music playing as you step out. So with the drums, this is a foundation. So even as a kid, when we were probably about, I think now, 6, 7 years old, we used to make our own drums. So they were like our friends in the area. So we used to get the goat skin that was buried around Eid and Ramadan and that. So we would ask for the goat skin, go through the process, but you got to bury it for 3 days. It sounds horrible, but soften it.
Tone in the same way that I would have felt the drums when you spoke.
Yeah, serious. When I speak Olof, we call it Olof.
Olof. Okay, beautiful.
That's what we say.
This is what I wanted to know because you said Nagande.
Right, Nangadef.
That's
I know Nangadef. When I speak one language, that's when you pick it up.
Yeah, man.
Nangadef is how are you?
Yeah, that's
Nangendef is a plural. Nakangadef is the singular.
You're not leaving here tonight, bro.
No, can you feel it? Like, can we just have like a...
No, I've got my book that I want to know.
No, Amor, we can't do the full... We can't. You will come out tomorrow. We don't have that much time. So,
I know Nangadef. I know people greet Nangadef.
Yeah.
So, but when you said Nagendef. That's when you're speaking to.
That's when you're speaking to more than one person.
Just the stress. Just the stress. Right.
But the tone changes.
Yeah, and I felt that.
It's a reflection of living there in Gambia or living in a different country where things are living here.
Yeah.
Because I thought about this myself. And here we're very mindful of we live on top of each other and next to each other. Right? We squash. Whereas let's say in Gambia, you've got your own plot of land, you build this, so you can express yourself how you want to and be real without thinking about the neighbours or they complaining. So gradually, in that way, your voice changes. The atmosphere changes your voice as well. So the sun loosens your voice more. So all that, and it's all beautiful.
Yeah, because the thing is, when what's happened just there, it just makes me feel about the fact that we are not in our natural space. Yeah, we're not in our natural environment. So even not hearing that tone that I've just heard and felt just shows how much we are missing out on kind of maintaining any kind of Africanness whilst we remain in this space. Because we've been talking probably for about 2 minutes. Omawale would have you speak for 3 hours. We don't have that time. But in that time,
we can do that.
In that time, I already feel different, and I said I'm different each time I come to this station, each time I interview somebody. Guys, if you've just tuned in, today's show is Music to My Ears. That is the title. I'm already almost at the ugly cry. There's always somebody that comes into this space that brings me to the ugly cry, which is so important to have a co-host. Because I just feel that in so many aspects of my being. And the quote for today simply goes like this: where words fail, music speaks. But Damel has just spoken and given me both. That is real 2 for the price of 1. Because he has spoken and it has sounded almost musical to me and powerful. So, we say that our strapline here at the Chalkhill Community Radio Station is keeping the community connected, and when we say you are locked in to the Let's Talk show, sometimes we mean physically. Sometimes people the love like, am I not gonna? But but so you have spoken about Gambia. You've spoken about the drums, the process of the drumming, and talking about open space compared to us living here, and kind of being on top of each other, etc. Which was the first of your talents that you recognised as a child? So you spoke about writing, I think, from about 8 years old. When in Gambia, was that when you kind of worked out, I've got this skill, I've got this talent? Tell us about that.
At that age, I came when I was 9, so young. Wow. He was historian. He'd tell you the history of Mesopotamia, he'd tell you the history of all different countries in the world when he came here. But, sad to say, this place basically just took his took his vigour, took his life really, with the bitterness that from the experiences that we can go through here sometimes.
Yes.
But he was a wordsmith.
Right.
He had a dictionary. Whenever he was reading or even listening to the TV, he came across a word, he'd never let it go.
His dictionary.
His dictionary, and he'd always be writing idioms and stuff.
Yeah.
So I must have picked this up genetically and just seen it being around.
Yeah.
So all those things go to formulate the person you are. So, but in saying that now, there's different aspects of me or of anyone, but if you're creative, you're creative.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of what do you focus on, why do you focus on that, and why don't you also do the other things that you can do.
So you're saying when you're a creative, it's not just in one area, it's a global.
If you're creative, you've got at least 2 skills that you can hone to the level that you want to take it to. So it's up to you, but we get, like Kitty was saying before about being pigeonholed. There's pigeonholing, but there's also you pigeonholing yourself in that you're expected to do this because you're known to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a singer, right? Yeah, that gone.
Yeah.
No, but I also, sorry, hello, excuse me.
Yeah.
So you don't hold yourself just as that's what you are. There's other things you do it.
Yeah.
And try and do it to the perfection rather than one over the other. So it's not an enemy, something we have to work with, but it's time. So making that time and the energy to keep doing that.
Are we all creatives?
Yeah. Every single person. Every single person is an artist, because if you want to talk about art, visual art, then it's just look at what we're wearing, look at the jewelry, look at the poster, look everything. We know it's all around us. So what do we do now that's artistic?
Because I'm wondering that in terms of, obviously with your background, you had the space and the opportunity and the cultural environment to express yourself artistically in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Conversely, we're here living on top of each other, and we can barely stretch our arms out to develop our creativity. So I'm just wondering.
But do you know what? Can I just say, just on a personal level, and you may or may not know this, and I may or may not have told you, but your creativity is when I say to you, and because Damel's alluded to how we dress, your creativity is when I say, should I wear this head wrap with this top or not? Yeah. And you go, no, wear that one. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know those two went together. Right. So you do have a level of, I mean, I'm sure there are other aspects, but that's the one that comes to mind first, because that's the more regular one. I'm like, what do you think of this? And you think, oh, put that with that. That's creative. Yeah. It's just that you're not probably doing it physically, but it's coming from your mind.
And that's kind of the point I wanted to make, is having the opportunity to recognize the creativity within, so you can express it. Whether you do it, in terms of a profession or not, is another issue. But being in a place like this, and it's interesting you mentioned the painful experience of your dad, because you're just kind of compressed in an environment like that. It takes you years to actually realize. I mean, our sister Queen earlier on was doing her 9 to 5, and it took years before she delved into her creativity. And I'm just thinking, you had that from early.
Well, I've been living here for a long time as well.
In a natural environment. I think that's your foundation.
But you know what you're saying, that is, it's the beauty and it's a bit of the ugly of it as well. Because you can, whatever you're experiencing, you can put it into your creativity. So it doesn't have to be, if you live in the countryside and we're talking about painting, you want to paint the countryside. But well and good, this is what you're feeling, this is your vibe, this is what you're seeing, this is what you're absorbing as well, those colours. Fine. If you're living in a part of town that's not well funded, and the shops are closing down, and you have an experience of unemployment, you put that into your creativity still. So the songs you write, you may want to reflect it. You may want to reflect the opposite. You may want to look at the joys that you still do have in your life. And whatever you're going through, it's just expression. Creativity is an expression of what you feel, what you think, and what you believe.
And that's what I love about music, because it is mood altering. And you will play a different genre of music that will probably fit your mood for that day. Or certain words. You might have a particular track because of those words and what those words mean at that time. And so I love it. Okay, let's talk about your singing
Right.
career. Let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us about, when you first started singing, because I know you were part of the band, Quest, and I think I recall seeing you as Quest before being a solo artist. So talk to us a little bit about Quest.
Okay, we'll go back a bit before Quest. So I'll go through as best as I can.
Cool.
So I think first of all, it started off in Chalkhill.
Nice.
So
Chalkhillians.
Curtis Lugay, Dave Lugay, Johan.
Wow.
And we started a band. These are two brothers, and they're really good friends of mine. Johan's been like the best drummer of the year in UK for a couple of years. And anyway, we started with the band. I went out and bought a saxophone because I just loved the saxophone. Didn't have a clue how to play it. Ended up playing sax.
Wow.
So we had
You're not easy though.
The creative, so get the sax and get going.
Yeah, so I started writing songs from there. We recorded, I think we only recorded one song, and then kind of we practiced, then moved on. So the first proper band I joined, not proper, but the first longer lasting band, was in Leeds, a band called Clique. Later on became Cachet. So I used to travel up and down to Leeds, back and forth every week for a year and a half. We toured Finland and Denmark, a 2-month tour.
What type of musical genre?
Funk.
Sorry to pitch it.
Soul, funk, music.
Okay.
Funk, get down, guitar, Earth, and Fire.
All right, okay.
Right, so we did that.
That was what, 90s, 80s?
The 90s, not 80s. Late 80s, yeah.
Okay.
So we toured, and this is my first tour. So in those 2 months I learned, I think, everything I needed to learn about going on the road.
Right.
So big up, Clique. We released a couple of singles. 2 of us left, the 2 Londoners left to come back to London and form Life Size. So Life Size was us, the duo, myself, Chris Buckley. And at the time I was living in Chalkhill where we did a Soul Train with Jeffrey Daniels.
The legend that is.
Yeah,
right? Oh, gosh.
for real. So that was a really exciting time in Chalkhill. I was seeing the windows twitch and stuff, and I was on people, I was like, you're on TV!
And we didn't have much. We did any black person. Oh, everybody come.
Yeah, well, so
Because I was saying, back then, we weren't, we had Alpha and Donna probably on top of the crop, single pants, I think. So it was a thing actually to see you on television, and also it was a thing because when we watched Soul Train, when we watched Soul Train, we didn't know those people, we couldn't touch them tangibly, but we knew, and we knew your brother and your family and your cousin, so that kind of made that real for us, and gave us possibility.
Yeah, for sure. And Peter is my brother.
Big shout out to Peter.
Shout out to nothing but love every time.
Yeah, we just got him Rasta Pete.
Yeah, so I did feel that because being in the estate, I mean, for me, I was just focused on what I'm doing and where I'm going and how well I need to do it. So I'm not always looking at the around me and what the reaction, what the effect is, until you hear from people and see people and you think, oh, you know what? I feel really good that I can be this person. And if people feel good to see me happy. If it inspires them, that's the glory. So
you mentioned Earth, Wind and Fire. I mean, we're all inspired by Earth, Wind and Fire. But did that sort of, was that the way you wanted your music to go? Because they were obviously very inspirational. They were very expressive and vocally.
Well, musically, like I think you had asked a question before about favourite type of music, which was number one. I think. It sounds so cliche, but music is my first love. Yeah. So whether it's Earth and Fire, or Bird and Spear, or Free with Paul Rogers, or Rod Stewart, or Mantovani. The first concert I went to was Status Quo. So for me, I've always had my foot in good few camps, and I'll just try and be the best of man I can be wherever I am. So my school was in Maidavale on Kilburn. So it was in my primary school, I think there's 2 of us that were black, and it's Catholic school. So I was always in that physical minority. But these are my friends, and we were together, and I was in that, getting that experience. Then I'll come home to Chalkhill, with a different group of friends.
Chalkhill's the real deal, so
I'll go Bird's Nest, and I'll go Railway, same way with some heavy, serious dub, wherever I go, I would love whatever speaks to me, just say with the music speaking. So it's all those influences, I think, are in me. So when I'm going to write and record and get where you're coming from, I will start with the drum foundation.
Yeah,
If
of
I'm-
course.
I'm,
That's the heartbeat. We call that the heartbeat of the nation.
So that's where I'm
Yeah,
starting from.
yeah, yeah.
And everything builds on that. So whichever way you go, it's just instruments and notes and melodies.
Mm.
Then you get a rhythm, you get a vibe, and if it feels right, then go with that.
Right.
Otherwise, you're thinking too much
Too
about
much.
what
Yeah.
type of music do I want to do. Just let the music flow.
Yeah.
So I try and go that way. So you find in my music all different styles.
That's important, you know, because I think, I mean, we do karaoke, right, as a social event on once a month. And some people come in there, and when they start to sing, I'm just like, you just come from your house, walked into the Kilburn Bridge, and started singing like that.
Tear up the pews.
Yeah, they just lift off the roof, and then for those who are really there for karaoke, I just say, sorry, I didn't know this person was coming. Because then nobody wants to sing, right? After that, they're like, they're like, I ain't going up there.
Yeah.
So you're saying about feeling it and where you feel your music and that takes you. Guys, if you've just joined us, it is the Blow Away, Blow Your Mind, Let's Talk show live today. I am mind blown by my guest today. And we're having a wonderful time in the studio with co-host, the brother Omawale. Our special guest today is Damel, and he's talking about soulful singing. He's saying that actually everybody has creative aspects to their character. It's just whether you have tapped in to find out what that is, or how many of your creative skills do you use. We've only so far touched singing, and I think we're going into a bit of songwriting, but we've got producers to come, we've got artists, we've got poetry, and we've got activists. So whatever you had planned for the rest of this afternoon, I think you should put it aside. So back to you.
We've got a little competition as well.
We've got a competition, we've got to do that, I know, so I don't want to have you here and then you go. We're going to do the competition, so I'm going to have to time manage, but we're going to do the competition. So you started off with a number of different bands.
Yeah.
You've come to Chalkhill, it's a whole new different experience for you. So take us through a bit more of your music before we touch on poetry.
From there, coming from life size now musically, so I was working in the area with a keyboard player, Stephen Cole, the man that conducted the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra for John Holt's concert at Hammersmith Pavilion. I think, was it Steve? Yeah.
That was
Right,
a
so
concert.
that's-
That was
yeah.
a concert.
Brilliant keyboard player, but he's one of the few guys around that could read. So whatever you give him, so we used to just go through like a Stevie Wonder songbook, and he would just play everything like. And so we did a lot of just shows around the area, mainly.
Was he local? Was he a Northwest person?
Yeah, we lived in Wembley.
Yeah, I think I know him.
Steve.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
Blossom as well. I follow Gay, all of you.
Yeah.
We're in the area. I'm in the area.
Yes.
Yo.
And Blossom I worked with as a
Yeah.
younger person. Yeah, she was called something else, but yeah. Okay, but,
so but with him, through him, I have to say, and I have to give him thanks because it was his idea. He took myself and Enhinam, we used to sing together a lot, to audition for Black Heroes in the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, give me a moment. Do you know that was like one of my best theatre experiences to date? In fact, I'm going to say to date. And I was speaking with, communicating with Flip Fraser,
Right.
saying, I need to bring this back. I wanted to bring this back for my children because it changed my life seeing that production. And as you know, we were talking, and they said, "Oh, I'm going to be in the UK." Sadly, we never got to connect. So, which character? Who did you play?
Well, Heroes, and again, big up the Sheroes and Heroes group. We're family, you know, and from 1991, I think, I've been part of the cast, and to now, we're close as ever as family.
Because they've got a foundation now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Because I went to an event, yeah.
But I joined. So I joined, and we toured USA, East Coast.
Sorry, who were you with?
What's your character?
I used to play Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
Don't have to wait.
Okay.
I think I remember that.
King Menelik the second.
Nice.
Part of the chorus.
Nice.
And we had Smokey Robinson and Miracles one time as well, and Gladys Knight the Pip. So a miracle and a pip. You know, I love Motown because those names, we've gone the opposite way now. You know, the Temptation, the Miracles, the Tops, and the Supremes. Everything was aiming for the top, right?
The Jacksons.
Yeah.
So no one's ever set up the show from the miracle and I've been a pit for being the first.
So so we did two tours with Black Heroes and USA in a way, for 3 months each time, 91 and 94. And as you say, for me, even looking objectively, it's at least one of the best productions. Wherever you want to go. Because I had actually had a chance to see it. Yeah. So in the US, I think it was probably as high performance-wise, let me say, give or take. But it's because of the costumes that we got from Hollywood for the 91 tour, and the amount of rehearsal that we did on the stage and beforehand. We didn't know how good and tight this show was. But I got strep throat, I got sick during the time, and I was like quarantined out of the way for 2-3 days. So when I was coming back, I actually went in the audience to see the show, and my jaw was, is this what I'm you could actually see what people were seeing. How it changed people's lives, as you were saying.
So even now, when I think about it, I went to the Heavenly event, I can't remember where it was down Marylebone Road, and I sat there and I just thought, I wonder if people really know how powerful and how I still want it to come back. I think it still should come back. Plus I think I should be in it now. But I think it should come back. But thank you for being a part of that, because that was
serious history.
That was life changing.
It is.
But we got to crack on.
Yes, we do.
Otherwise I'll be on stage. So Black Heroes in the Hall of Fame, amazing. A miracle and a pip.
So it was through that. Touch on maybe 2 more things coming from there. Through Black Heroes, really joined Soul to Soul and toured with them for 3 or 4 years. So it's 4 out of the cast of Black Heroes. The same Enya Nam I was telling you that I auditioned with to join the cast. Julie Payne, who was also lived Church Road, local, and Ingrid Webster, the African Zulu girl. So we went on tour. I toured with them, Jazzy and everyone for 3-4 years.
What was that like? Because obviously they were heights of their...
Well, there you go. So I mean, it was Soul to Soul, and we were big internationally. So it used to be like 3 acts on the tour. So I think first one in Japan, we toured with Marky Mark and CC Peniston. But we also toured with Incognito in Germany and James Brown.
Wow. Ooh, James Brown, like Godfather James Brown.
James Brown.
You know we're going to get you sliding across the studio.
And seeing him every day, and watching him on stage. Sometimes we just come from backstage just to watch the band. And talk to the band afterwards, and just to know how the level this man not operates on, but has been operating on for so long. And that is inspiring for anyone who, for longevity. You have to keep that standard and that level going. So
see, the thing is with that, I've just got to say, with the Let's Talk show, we don't play, we don't just have an argument out there with people. We have an extraordinary, everybody that comes on the show is extraordinary, whether they're 8 years old, whether they're a singer, whether they're a writer, whether they've got a tragedy, whether they've got some great news. You are all extraordinary people, every single one of you. We aren't ordinary, we are extraordinary. So thank you.
Right, so, and again through Black Heroes, the musical director was, Kareem Jamal, was Ken Kendricks, as people knew him there, in case you want to go back, and Tony Douglas, Tony Terror, from Paddington Terror Sound. We were all in Black Heroes. And Lloyd Brown was in Black Heroes. I mean, there's been so many musicians. Chris Lincoln, Thompson, he's been...
Yes, he played Selassie, didn't he?
He played
Nelson Mandela.
Black Heroes. You could just go through the Blackstones. But anyway, we formed a group, myself, Tony and Kareem, after Lloyd Brown was going on tour with Sanchez and Mikey Spice, so he asked us to do some backing vocals, so we said, yeah, cool, we're going to tour with you. And we were all learning the songs individually. When we came together to actually sing, the 3 of us, which we hadn't done before in the show, just 3, our voices were just in the perfect places. Kareem on top, me in the middle, and Tony, just naturally where we go through. So the harmony didn't have to be worked on that much as far as positioning. So we formed Quest, KWEST, and recorded 2 albums later, and 5 or 6 singles on top of the albums.
Brilliant.
And lots of shows as well.
Jamil, there's like a plethora of things to talk about with you.
It is.
And so I'm going to have to treat it like Woolworth pick and mix. I'm going to have to choose the bits. I want to ask you, what or who inspires your art? Because we know that you sing, and including whichever aspect of your art, whether it's your singing, your poetry, who or what, how are you inspired by the things?
What do you mean, as a general? generality altogether?
Generality, because you can choose an aspect. You can talk about your poetry, or what else.
Well, let me say first. I mean, I'll go under the name of Damel for music. Damel Carayol, ST for fine art.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask you about that ST.
Yeah. I'll let you know. and Damel, the artist, is like a conglomerate, like a trinity of the three or more disciplines in one, in me, because I'm still one person.
Absolutely.
The different aspects don't separate from me, I'm still one, so that's why I chose that name. So inspiration, I'll break it down a little bit. So for painting, let's say, another thing with my dad, he was a cultured man, so he used to take me to the National Gallery, the V&A and all those places, Natural History Museum, but when I was really young, and I'd be standing there staring at these masterpieces, big paintings, and I was absorbing, I was studying them, basically. So Sundays I'd go to the Natural History Museum and just draw by myself, draw, and go back home, critique and that. So this was, so those paintings by Rembrandt and all those, the Italian Renaissance at first inspired me. Musically, Marvin Gaye has been a big thing in my life, but so was the movement that this UK went through in the late 70s with reggae, with roots music, when the Wailers did come out, when Burning Spear did come out, the messages that were coming from the music. I saw the effect that had on my brothers who are not born in Africa and who this helped to connect with. So that was a serious, I recognised that and I felt that. So that's all inspiration. People like James Baldwin inspired me. I went through a fair bit, like 5 or 6 of his books, and listened to him talk, as an activist. All those things motivate and inspire me.
What about Omawale Malcolm X? Were you
inspired Malcolm X and King and all that I used to listen to, but for me...
I know Baldwin, there was a tight connection with Baldwin and Malcolm X. That's why I was wondering if...
Malcolm X, I've read his biography, and the book that he put out. I can't remember the title of it. But for me, it was
history.
Huh?
Malcolm X and Afro-American history.
Yes, I think that one.
It's small.
But it's Minister Farrakhan. I think that's really.
Okay, you were inspired by Minister Farrakhan.
Yeah. And just we were invited to his house, right? His palace, I should say, as Black Heroes.
Okay.
On tour.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he came to see the show and he was just blown away.
Okay.
Totally blown away.
You're dropping some names, man.
Well,
You're dropping some double.
That's my
Minister
Farrakhan.
Farrakhan.
And that's it for Damel. He's like, I just went to Asda. He's just rolling it out like it isn't anything.
Man.
How amazing.
Yeah. So, but and the other thing is, for inspiration, it comes through me. So I believe a lot. I mean, our ancestors, if you really believe that, either you believe they're around and they can help you in your day or not. If you do, where does it? It must take note of when it happens.
Yeah.
And for me, it does happen through the dreams that you have when they come. You're working on a project. Okay, you're meditating on it, but ideas will come. Where does that idea come? So messages do come from our ancestors.
In our tradition, we have the realm of the ancestors. Hence the reason why before we do anything, we pour libation to our ancestors. So they're here. They're here right now.
So it's
coming through you.
Comes from them and through me.
Absolutely.
So if you can recognise that it's there, then you have to honour it. So if it's words or a tune or something, I'll have a book by my bedside or phone, and I'll record those 2, 3 o'clock in the morning hits. Because I know it's special.
Because that's how I live my everyday. Now, I often ask the question, do other people receive in the same way? Do other people receive and maybe not know they're receiving? Or what do they call it? What do they make it? Because I was saying to you earlier, I don't choose the guests for my show. I don't even put the guests together. That is all done for me. I show up and deliver the show. But I honestly don't feel like I go, right, okay, people just fall into, for me, because that's done for me. It's not an actual plan. It falls in because that's how it should be. So you've spoken about your granddad, your father. You've spoken about people that have been influential in your life. You've spoken about your African heritage and connection. You've spoken about how you've moved through the borough of Brent and how you've sat in the houses of just some interesting people. You know, you spoke about your time with James Brown. We're going to get you that coat and see if you can slide across the floor like he thinks it's important to share your learnings, and just how you're inspired by ancestral guidance and how that is such a beautiful thing. I asked you to bring some poetry. Are you able to read a piece of poetry to us now?
I can, yeah.
Would you mind doing that? And then we're going
I'd
to.
like to ask a question afterwards as well. Once you finish reading your poetry, if we've got the time.
Yeah.
Because time is we're going over, and we've got another show. We've got another show coming up, so we're going to have to be very succinct. And I suppose it's about competition, yeah.
So let me just drop the question now, because you, as a fine artist, as a child, you mentioned about your connection with colours.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, because not enough of us realise the importance of, or the depth of colours and the impact it has on the mind, body and soul. So I just wanted to hear from a fine artist about a little bit about colours.
Yeah, well, just briefly, I mean, colours vibrate and they have a sound as well, really. So if we talk about music and something visual, they do talk to each other and they resonate, and we absorb colours as well. So if you're going into a park with all the green and the different colours of flowers and everything else, by looking at them, you know, you can't absorb them into your body, and you can reproduce and recreate those things because they're in you. So we're all part of the one cosmos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
do you know? Damel, you're going to have to come back.
Yeah.
Do you know that? You're going to have to come back and do a part 2. Yeah, you have to come back and do part 2.
Should I do this quickly?
Yeah, you do your poetry, we'll do your song, and then we'll talk about you coming back to do the rest.
Right,
the rest. No, we've got to talk about the promotion. Could you imagine that? I've got you on here to talk about the promotion, and I have not spoken about the promotion. I'm going to. I'd like you to do your piece, and then we're going to round off with the promotion. Yeah,
well,
we're going to do that.
I'll at least be able to give the website and everything for.
We'll do it quick. Yeah, we've got a few minutes to. Yeah, so you take your time with the poetry, and then we'll do that.
Okay. Well, this is a request. Big up yourself, Coral Consciously, PR. One of the best PR people around.
Oh, bless you.
There's a request from her, and it's a poem called Beauty is Black, which is written a long time ago.
I love it already.
89. So just a response to the negative black words that we have, blackness, black men, and everything else. A recognition for the beauty of black. Every colour is black, so is every person.
Absolutely.
This is my take on beauty is black, which drawing and working on top of Shakespeare. To be or not to be black, is there a question? When there are none nobler in dignity and in pride, and yet those suffering and having endured the slings and arrows, the stings and blows of oppression, and the painful throes of dispossession, to emerge vibrant without depression. To be or not to be black, to find and to define the source of beauty, the source of strength, the source of courage and of pride, the source of style, the source of survival and of longevity, the source of being itself in being. Oh yes, to be black. Is there a question? In the face of opposition and even a place of relocation, the face black, diverse in many shades, each of beauteous accolade finds its source the same. There with understanding, there in being, to be, or yes, to be black, there is no question.
Wonderful.
That was from a long time ago. So it's just the growing and just learning more and more about our life, our world, what's happened to us as black people and Africans, what's been done to us.
Absolutely.
And how to celebrate from that.
Absolutely. I know we haven't got time for this, but just to say that we have a Nigerian in the house, Brother Ola. We have a Gambian in the house. There needs to be the jollof rice debate at some point, so maybe when
that debate won't last.
There's a Niger man over here who'll tell you different though.
So, sorry, digression. That rendered me without response, which is why I didn't respond initially. because that's so beautiful and so powerful, and I felt that in the scene.
Even more important in my eyes, limited edition.
Right.
So there'll be 3 winners to design a logo to go on the Supermall can. So let me please give you the website. Please get a pen. Give you the website where you can go in, which is all the W's. supermalt.com/design -your-can. Supermalt.com, design your can. You can look that up. And when you go into the site, you will see it's an invite for, let's say, the global majority. So it's specifically aimed to people who love that Supermall, who buy it in crates and who have an association with it. So because of that, it's divided into 2 areas you should consider for your designs, which are what community means to you, 1, a celebration of your culture, 2, and 3, personal association or memory that you may have with Supermall. So consider those 3. You'll see it on the website when you're making your design. Now there'll be a winner chosen from each of those 3 topic areas that people choose to do. So apart from getting your design on the can, which is historic, you also win, 3 winners also win an iPad 11-inch, Apple Pencil Pro, MacBook Pro 14-inch, 1 year's membership at Tape Gallery, 1-day mentoring seminar, a ticket to Where Are the Black Designers Conference in August, and designs featured on merchandise for Supermall WGLA, like t-shirts and stuff. And Carnival, there's something special going on where WGLA are involved, around Power Square, I believe, where you'll get a chance for your images to be portrayed on your big massive wall there. It's serious, it's special, it's for us. So all you creatives, get those juices flowing.
So it's all age groups?
From 18 above.
Oh,
and it closes on the 27th of April.
27th of April, so it's a Supermall competition. You can enter. This competition is for anyone who identifies as being part of the global majority and is a UK resident. Guys, get your passion going. What are what are they looking for? Looking for a design. In your own way, the design should respond to one of the 3 prompts and show originality and self-expression. So the design requirements are not incredible, prescriptive, as we were interested in seeing people. So your own interpretation. So it's your own interpretation, guys, get involved. And it is going to be a design. The winner of the competition, the prize is going to be amazing. You've heard that there's an iPad, a Pro Pen, a MacBook Pro, 1 year Tape Gallery membership. There is loads to be winning in this one competition. So you need to get designing. Contact me here on the studio on 07 956 548 781. We're also going to find out from Damel. I think there might be. Is there a video ad for this already? Because we shared the video ad.
Yeah, if you follow me, Damel _ the artist, you'll see on Instagram and TikTok, the social media platforms, also Supermall platforms, and the WGLA platform, the Coral Consciously platforms. There's about 5 videos that we judges, and one of the judges, have done to let you know more about it.
How's your name being spelled?
DAMEL.
Can you just repeat that address you gave?
For my address?
Yeah.
Yeah. My social media handle is DAMEL _ the artist.
The artist.
Right. Damel Carayol ST is YouTube and Facebook, and my website is all the W's, damel.life.
Damel Carayol. Boy, I don't know. We haven't even done the activism. We haven't done the songwriting, but we're gonna come back. We're gonna arrange for you to come back, and there's probably some other stuff that might happen.
Yeah.
But today's show, guy, was entitled "Music to My Ears." I want to hear from our final guest if he has any final words before we start rounding up. Is there any final words? Is there anything that you want to? I know I wanted to talk about your activism, but is there anything that you haven't spoken about that in this short space time? You would like to say something, but are you coming back first of all?
Yeah, I think I have to.
right.
Yeah.
So what do you want people to know just about today's show? Anything special?
About today's show is just putting everything together. Really, it's all everything I feel and I do is based on love. Really, you know, however that sounds to you, the decisions that you make, if you're guided by that feeling. I love people. Right? I don't know if I could say I'm a humanist. You know, we're human, and there's a certain way that we should be with each other, and I'll follow that as a doctrine as best as I can. Love people. So wherever you go, however you be, approach people as an individual and get who they are first. Forget the prejudgment and prejudice, which is very hard to do. You heard something about someone, for example, you think you know them, you don't.
You don't.
So open your mind, approach each other. It's difficult times that we're in right now. Probably always has been, but we're at a kind of turning point at the moment. So embrace each other, and this is a community radio station, and that's the key word. You know, so big up the Grenfell community. We'll speak
about that
another time, but just to say, I'm here representing family and people, all the ends and boroughs. Love always. Bless.
Chalkhill, guys, we found our very
Chalkhill.
Our very own Chalkhill. And what wonderful days we had back then at Pop Grove. But listen, we've come to the end of the show. As always, there's never enough time. I want to say thank you to my co-host, Brother Omwale. Are there any final words? You've got like a secondish, like say 100. You got a short, you got a short space of time because we're out, and Charles is up next. So stay tuned in for Charles.
Okay. Well, let me just in the form of a question. To what extent do you work with young people?
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, not a question. Because we've got to press play and go.
Right. Okay.
So that will take us into Charles.
Yeah, I definitely
so we can talk about that afterwards. But if there's any final words, not a final question.
All right.
Yeah.
Humble apologies. It's been an absolute pleasure. You know, the whole world of the arts is, as far as I'm concerned, is coming home, is coming back to us, because it's something that we need so much as people of African heritage. We need to reconnect with the arts, because for a lot of us, it was academia to the detriment of the arts. And I feel once we reconnect again, we're fully ourselves when we connect with the arts, be it music, be it fine arts, be it all the different expressions. So it's a pleasure connecting with both King and Queen this afternoon. It's humbling. So love and respect.
Wonderful. Yeah, so it's Kitty Corbin, our first guest. There was a message for you on live, you know. It might be from your king. It says, "Look, lovely, my queen." So we wanted to make sure that you got that message. And I want to say to both of you, you've absolutely made my Saturday morning. I don't even feel tired, considering I've had hardly any sleep. But you've both been enlightening. You have both been so wonderfully connected to the things that are so important to me and community, and so I can't wait to be having a chat with you guys after the show. But in the meantime, tonight I got so carried away with all kinds of things that I should have got your song ready. So let me see if I can do this, because let me see. Let's just see if I do open. I got so carried away. I was just chatting, and I was just so consumed by your.
This is at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are going to be playing Heaven, Damel Carayol. We'll see you next week, same place, same time. In the meantime, we should get our balloons out.